We all dream of hitting the big jackpot, but the odds are so slim that even the trip to buy a ticket is more dangerous. Statistics show that the likelihood of dying on the way to the kiosk is higher than winning the grand prize. It's funny, but it's true. This doesn't mean buying a ticket is pointless. After all, excitement and hope are part of the game. But it's important to remember, true luck isn't about winning millions, it's about getting home safe. So when someone says, "I'm pretty sure I'm going to win," you can reply, "The main thing is not to get into an accident on the way." Sometimes just living life is the biggest win. Octopuses are remarkable creatures not only for their tentacles and intelligence, but also for how they care for their offspring. The female lays thousands of tiny eggs and then guards them for weeks, refusing to eat. All her energy goes into ensuring the hatchlings emerge safely. When this happens, the mother often dies from exhaustion. Such self-sacrifice is astonishing. She literally gives her life for the future generation. In the animal kingdom, such devotion is rare. So, when observing an octopus, it's worth remembering that behind its cold exterior lies one of the most touching displays of maternal instinct. The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and most famous in Venice. It was built in the 16th century and has been slowly sinking ever since. The city is built on stilts and constantly battles the water, which is why the bridge is gradually descending as well. Over the centuries, it has been restored and reinforced multiple times to preserve this symbol of Venice. However, the underlying issue remains. The sea is slowly reclaiming its territory. For tourists, Rialto is a romantic spot with a view of the Grand Canal, while for engineers, it presents an ongoing challenge. Each stone here serves as a reminder that Venice is beautiful and fragile, and its wonders require constant care and protection. The elephant's trunk is a true marvel of nature. Imagine an organ with around 40,000 muscles, more than the entire human body. Because of this, an elephant can tear off heavy branches, gently pick up a small berry, and even embrace its young. They use their trunks to drink water, make sounds, and play, almost like hands. Baby elephants sometimes even suck on their trunks like children do with their thumbs to soothe themselves. It's hard to believe that one tube can perform so many tasks, from brute strength to gentle gestures. That's why the elephant's trunk is one of the most unique and multifunctional tools created by nature. Off the coast of Mauritius, there is a breathtaking sight. It looks as if a giant waterfall is crashing into the ocean right by the shore. In reality, this is an optical illusion. Ocean currents carry sand and sediment in such a way that it creates the impression of a swift flow downward into the abyss. From above, the view is fantastic. The water seems to plunge through the edge of the ocean. Tourists specifically fly here to witness this natural wonder with their own eyes. In reality, there is no chasm, but the beauty of the illusion is so striking that it is considered one of the most mesmerizing landscapes on the planet. Today, over 4,000 active satellites orbit our planet. They provide us with navigation, communication, weather forecasting, and even climate monitoring. However, as the number of satellites increases each year, scientists are increasingly discussing the problem of space debris. The more technology there is in orbit, the higher the risk of collisions. Imagine a vast network of thousands of lights above us that we can't see, yet they make our lives more convenient every day. Every phone or car contains a small part of their work. Space has long ceased to be empty. It has become a busy highway with continuous traffic. The computer keyboard is something we touch every day, but we rarely think about how many germs are on it. Studies show that there are often more bacteria on the keys than on a toilet seat. Crumbs, dust, and grease from our hands create the perfect environment for microbial life. Therefore, regular cleaning is not just a whim, but a matter of health. Sometimes, simply wiping the keyboard with disinfecting wipes or using a special vacuum for electronics is enough. So, as you type a message or play a game, remember, beneath your fingers lies an entire zoo. And perhaps computer hygiene is more important than we tend to think. The Nile is the longest river in the world, stretching about 6,650 kilometers. It flows through 11 countries in Africa and serves as a source of life for millions of people. The ancient Egyptians referred to the Nile as a gift from the gods, as the river's floods brought fertile soil and allowed crops to be grown in the desert land. Today, the Nile remains not only an important transportation artery, but also a symbol of history, culture, and the power of nature. It is remarkable that one river can connect so many peoples and eras, becoming a true thread of time that stretches across millennia. Many have noticed the small colored squares at the bottom of toothpaste tubes. Rumors claim that they indicate the composition. Green means natural, red means chemical. But in reality, these are just marks for machines at the factory. They help accurately position the tube during packaging and labeling. The color of the square is not related to the ingredients, it's simply a technical marker. It turns out we've been attributing significance to ordinary paint stripes for decades. It's amusing how easily myths are born. A small square can transform into a secret code, when in fact it's only meant for the assembly line. Penguins are masters of swimming and diving, but they have another trick up their sleeves. They intentionally swallow small stones. Why? First, these pebbles help grind food in their stomachs, acting like a kind of grinding system. Second, the extra weight helps the birds dive deeper and stay underwater longer. This way, penguins become true underwater hunters. Imagine what seems like a silly act, grabbing a stone and swallowing it, turns out to be a clever adaptation for survival. It's another example of how nature equips animals with unexpected tools that help them excel in their environment. When the Apollo astronauts landed on the moon, they left not only footprints but also special markings. These were lines and arrows that helped them navigate in the unfamiliar environment. There are no familiar horizons or road signs on the moon, making it easy to get lost. Therefore, scientists devised lunar markings in advance, so that the astronauts would know where to go and how to return to the module. These simple lines became an important part of mission safety. It's amusing to think that on the moon, where there are no cars or traffic jams, there is still its own road system. The human tendency to impose order even worked on another celestial body. In the tropical forests of the Amazon, there grows a palm that locals call the walking palm. Its roots are structured in such a way that the tree can slowly move several meters in search of light. Old roots die off while new ones grow on the other side, making the palm appear to take a step. Over the years, it can walk several meters, changing its location. Of course, it's not a stroll in the usual sense, but the sight is impressive. A tree that moves to survive. Scientists debate the speed and scale of this process, but the fact itself is astonishing. Nature once again proves that even trees can seek their place in the sun, literally on the move. We tend to think of the world as having three kingdoms: animals, plants, and fungi. Most often, we classify fungi as plants, but the truth is they are much closer to animals. They share a common ancestor with us that dates back over 1 billion years. Unlike plants, fungi cannot photosynthesize. They obtain nutrients by decomposing organic matter. Essentially, they eat like animals. So, a champignon or a honey mushroom is not just a little plant with a cap, but a distant relative of ours. Fungi are true recyclers of nature. They return nutrients to the soil, give life to new plants, and without them, ecosystems would simply collapse. On the southern coast of Iceland, there is a black beach that is never the same. Every year, its contours change. New dunes rise in some areas, while in others, the sand completely disappears. This is all due to winds and powerful underwater currents that move the sand along the shore. Locals and tourists note that today the beach looks one way, but a year later it's different, as if someone has rearranged its parts. It feels like nature itself is painting new scenes right on the shore. This place has become a true mystery for scientists and attracts travelers, as here one can literally witness the changing land and feel the breath of the ocean, capable of reshaping entire landscapes. Cows are not only a source of milk and delicious cheese, but they are also very social creatures. Scientists have observed that they have true best friends. They graze, rest, and even communicate with special sounds together. But the most surprising thing is that when these friends are separated, cows begin to experience stress. Their heart rates increase and they become restless and sad. It turns out that these large, peaceful animals feel separation almost the same way we do when we miss a close friend. So next time you see a cow in a meadow, consider that she might be standing next to a friend she has known for years, and that connection is just as important to her as it is to us. Turtles are true long livers of the planet. They appeared over 200 million years ago, surviving dinosaurs, ice ages, and numerous catastrophes. Their shell is not just armor, but a part of their skeleton that protects them from enemies and aids in survival. Some species can live up to 150 years. And sea turtles are capable of crossing oceans, traveling thousands of kilometers in search of food. Think about it. Long before the first humans appeared, these slow creatures were already calmly walking the earth. Today, when we encounter a turtle, we are looking at a living relic, a piece of the ancient world that has managed to reach us almost in its original form. There is a strange yet very real phobia called magurophobia, or the fear of cooking. For those who suffer from it, the kitchen becomes a room of horrors. Pots and pans seem dangerous, and the very act of cooking triggers panic. It's not just a reluctance to stand by the stove. It's a deep-seated fear that can literally paralyze a person. Someone may thrive on ready-made meals, but the thought of preparing something themselves brings on anxiety. This phobia is rare, but it vividly illustrates the diversity of fears. Some people are afraid of spiders, others of heights, while some fear an ordinary pot. Ultimately, it serves as a reminder that everyone has their own vulnerabilities. The U.S. Supreme Court may seem like a strict and serious place, but few know that there's a basketball court on its roof. It's called the highest court in the land. Employees and even justices play there to relieve stress after sessions. Imagine this. Just moments ago, someone was making a decision that could change the fate of an entire country, and an hour later they're shooting hoops. This small detail serves as a reminder that even the most influential people are still human, needing rest and joy. The majestic building with its columns conceals an ordinary game above, a symbol that everyone needs a balance between work and life. Chinese woman Xi Jinping became famous for not cutting her hair for over 40 years. She started growing it at the age of 13 and reached a length of 5.62 meters. That's almost 18 feet. Just imagine how much time it takes to care for such a braid. Brushing alone takes a couple of hours, and washing is a whole ritual. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make it easier to move. Her record is listed in the Guinness Book of Records, and so far, no one has broken it. It's reminiscent of the tale of Rapunzel, but in real life, where determination and patience become a true legend. In Venice, there is an unusual museum that showcases items recovered from the bottom of the canals. You can see coins, ancient tools, jewelry, and even musical instruments that have been submerged for centuries. Each exhibit is a piece of history, accidentally lost and later found. Imagine walking through the city, and somewhere beneath your feet in the mud lies a lost ring or a merchant's wallet, only to be unearthed by archaeologists centuries later. This museum brings the past to life, revealing not the grand Venice, but its everyday life. It serves as a reminder that every forgotten object could one day become part of a larger story. Some mushrooms have the amazing ability to glow in the dark. This process is called bioluminescence. At night, they emit a soft green light in the forest, creating a fairy tale atmosphere. Scientists believe this glow attracts insects that spread spores and help the mushrooms propagate. For humans, it appears as true magic, walking along a path and seeing the ground beneath your feet illuminated by mysterious lights. It's no wonder such mushrooms have inspired legends and tales. It serves as a reminder that even in the most ordinary grove, one can find wonder if they look closely at night. In the tropical forests of Papua New Guinea lives a creature that is easily overlooked, the smallest frog in the world. It measures just 7.7 millimeters, less than a centimeter. Weighing about 1/100th of a gram, it hides among the leaves, appearing as a tiny dot. But don't be fooled into thinking it's quiet. Its voice resembles the buzz of an insect and can be heard from a considerable distance. This little one demonstrates that nature can create not only giants like whales and elephants, but also incredible miniature champions. It's astonishing how life and energy can fit into such a microscopic body. The sunset on Mars is a true wonder. Unlike Earth, where the sky is painted in shades of red and orange, on Mars the sun sets in a blue glow. This is due to the planet's thin atmosphere, which scatters light differently than ours. As a result, the daytime sky appears pale yellow, and at sunset, the horizon ignites with a stunning blue light. Astronauts who find themselves there will witness a truly alien landscape. Imagine standing on the cold Martian plains, gazing up at a foreign yet mesmerizing sky. It's like a painting by an artist who decided to swap the usual colors. There's a myth that a duck's quack doesn't echo. In reality, that's not true. Physics works the same for all sounds. It's just that a duck's quack has a frequency and duration that make the echo seem quiet and unnoticeable. In a quiet place, you can catch it, but under normal conditions, it fades away. So, the myth arises from the peculiarities of our hearing, not from nature itself. It's amusing how often we create legends to explain ordinary things. A duck quacks with an echo, it's just hard to hear. So next time by the pond, try to listen closely. You might catch that hidden stereo. Today, the computer mouse is a familiar accessory, lightweight and made of plastic. However, the first mouse, created in 1964 by engineer Douglas Engelbart, was made of wood. Inside, there were metal wheels that tracked movement across the table. The device looked strange and bulky, but it marked the beginning of a new era. It's hard to believe that from such a simple wooden box, modern touchpads and wireless gadgets emerged. This story serves as a reminder. Great technologies often arise from very humble beginnings, and sometimes all it takes is one wooden experiment to change the world. The term Black Panther sounds mysterious, as if it refers to a distinct species. In reality, it simply describes the coloration of leopards or jaguars. Some individuals exhibit melanism, an excess of dark pigment. Their fur becomes almost black, with spots only visible in sunlight. These animals make up about 11% of all leopards. In the jungle, they move like shadows, blending into the darkness. This rare coloration has turned them into legends and heroes of myths. So, a panther isn't a new species, it's just a stylish same leopard, but in a black suit. Nature sometimes plays with fashion too. Sometimes large numbers seem empty and abstract, but here's an interesting example. 1 billion seconds is about 32 years. That's a span of time comparable to a whole human life from birth to maturity. Imagine a baby being born, taking its first steps, going to school, graduating from university. And all of this fits into 1 billion seconds. The word billion sounds like an unimaginably large amount, but in reality it's just one segment of a human biography. This simple calculation helps us understand how valuable each day is. After all, time doesn't flow in billions, but in small pieces. And it all depends on how we choose to live them. Scientists have discovered that it actually rains diamonds on Saturn. It all starts with thunderstorm lightning, which transforms methane into carbon. This carbon gradually crystallizes, forming tiny diamonds that fall through the atmosphere. Imagine pea-sized stones literally pouring from the sky. At greater depths, they turn into graphite under pressure. But the idea itself is astonishing. A planet where jewels fall instead of raindrops sounds like the plot of a science fiction movie. It's just a shame that they can't be harvested. The conditions there are deadly. Yet the mere knowledge that such a phenomenon truly exists makes Saturn special and mysterious in the eyes of people. In the Atlantic Ocean lies Tristan da Cunha, the most remote inhabited place on the planet. The nearest mainland is nearly 2,500 kilometers away, and only about 260 people live there. The only way to reach the island is by ship, taking 6 days from South Africa. There are no airports, shopping centers, or hotels, and almost all the residents are descendants of sailors and settlers. Life here seems to be stuck in another time. People live in a community, grow their own food, and know each other by name. For a tourist, it's a unique experience to find oneself in a world where civilization is left behind the horizon. In English, there is a word, strengths, and it is special. It is the longest word with just one vowel. Despite its simplicity, it symbolizes strength, resilience, and endurance. It's amusing that such a word is unique in its structure. It contains 8 consonants in a row, yet it sounds easy and familiar. This little linguistic record shows that even in words, we can find our own championships. Language, like nature, holds its secrets and wonders, and sometimes they are hidden in the most ordinary things, in a word we use almost every day. In Kenya, there is a remarkable phenomenon known as moving lakes. These saline bodies of water can disappear for months and then reappear elsewhere when the rains come. It seems as if the earth itself is shifting them on the map. In reality, this is linked to underground rivers and tectonic processes that direct the water to areas with voids. For the local people and animals, it poses a real challenge. Birds and herds are forced to follow the water as if it were a living entity. Imagine, a familiar lake has vanished, and you search for it in a new location as if trying to catch up with an old friend. These wandering lakes demonstrate that nature operates by its own rules, and sometimes even the most familiar things, like water, can be unpredictable. If Saturn surprises with diamond rain, then the phenomenon on Neptune is even more impressive. Under pressure and at immense temperatures, methane in the planet's atmosphere turns into diamond crystals that fall like raindrops. Imagine precious stones gathering in the sky instead of clouds. Of course, at depth, they break down into other forms of carbon. But the process itself is astonishing. A world where diamonds rain from the sky seems like a fairy tale, yet it truly exists. However, it's unlikely that humans will ever reach it. Conditions are just too extreme. But the thought of such natural luxury is captivating. Today, it's hard to imagine a computer without microchips, but there was a time when memory was made quite differently. In the mid-20th century, data was stored in tiny magnetic rings. Each ring could remember a bit of information, while wires threaded through them managed the writing and reading processes. This was known as ferrite memory. It looked quite simple, like beads strung on a wire. Yet this technology was a breakthrough that allowed the first computers to operate faster and more reliably. Such memory was literally worth its weight in gold, and every cell counted. Today, it's difficult for us to believe that programs ran on rings. But that's how the era of the digital world began. Polar bears appear to be snowy creatures, as if sculpted from ice. However, if you push aside their thick fur, you'll find that their skin is not white, but black. This color helps the animals absorb solar heat more effectively and retain it in harsh Arctic conditions. Thus, the white fur serves as camouflage, while the bear's true clothing acts as a heater. This dual mechanism allows them to survive in temperatures that drop below -40. So, the polar bear is not just a fluffy giant, but a true engineering marvel of nature, where everything is meticulously designed. Many people believe that lightning never strikes the same place twice, but that's a myth. In reality, for example, the Empire State Building in New York gets hit by lightning about 100 times a year. Tall buildings and structures seem to attract electricity, and their tops are specially equipped with lightning rods to prevent damage from strikes. So, lightning doesn't avoid old spots. In fact, it loves to return to them again and again. So if you find yourself near a skyscraper during a storm, know that it's one of the most common places for lightning to meet the ground. Nature once again proves that it doesn't adhere to pretty sayings. In the Middle Ages, there was an unusual unit of volume, the ton. But it wasn't the familiar weight measurement. It referred to the amount of wine that could fit in a huge barrel. Merchants and winemakers used this method of measurement for trade. Imagine, at a fair, deals were made not in liters or even barrels, but in whole tons of wine. Today, this word is associated with heaviness and mass, but once it was linked to joy and feasting. This detail of history serves as a reminder that many modern terms originated from very practical needs of the past, when wine was almost a currency. If you take a standard deck of 52 cards and shuffle it well, you can't even imagine what you're holding in your hands. The number of possible combinations is so vast that it can be expressed with 60 zeros. Imagine shuffling the cards, and almost certainly you get a unique order that has never existed in human history and will never exist again. Each time it's like creating a new universe right on the table. Playing cards after this feels like real magic. A simple game transforms into a journey through infinite possibilities. Even a regular game of Durac or poker suddenly gains special significance, as in your hands a unique combination is born that will vanish forever the moment you gather the cards back. Do you remember those annoying pop-up windows on the internet? The ones that took up half the screen and drove you crazy? It turns out their inventor publicly apologized for them later. In the 1990s, programmer Ethan Zuckerman came up with this method to separate ads from main content. At the time, it seemed like a good idea, but soon ads flooded the web, turning surfing into a nightmare. Years later, Zuckerman admitted that his invention caused more harm than good. This is a great example of how even good intentions can lead to unpleasant outcomes. And now, when we close yet another pop-up window, we can remember that its creator regrets it. Yes, there are sharks that can walk. These are small epaulette sharks that live on coral reefs. They use their fins like legs, moving them to shuffle along the seafloor. This ability helps them search for food in places where swimming is difficult, like shallow lagoons. It looks unusual, as if a little shark decided to try on a lizard's outfit. Scientists believe this is an example of unique adaptation. Nature has seemingly given this predator new tools for survival. The walking shark is yet another reminder that the ocean holds countless wonders we are not even aware of. In China, there is an unusual village called Bama, where many residents live to be 100 years old or more. Scientists attribute this to a combination of clean air, mineral water, and a local diet rich in herbs and vegetables, with almost no bad habits. However, the locals have a different perspective. The secret lies in harmony with nature and a positive mindset. People here continue to work physically into old age, take walks, tend to their gardens, and their lives are filled with movement. Tourists come to see these lively seniors, hoping to adopt their habits. This place has become a symbol of the idea that longevity is not just about genetics, but also about a lifestyle that values simplicity and tranquility. The International Space Station is not just a laboratory in orbit, it is the most expensive man-made object ever created. Its construction and operation have cost around $150 billion. For comparison, that's nearly 50 times the cost of the Eiffel Tower. The station has become a symbol of cooperation among different countries, with Americans, Russians, Japanese, and Europeans working together on board. Experiments are conducted there that cannot be performed on Earth. And while the amount may seem astronomical, the results are worth it. The ISS has opened the doors to life beyond our planet and represents a step toward future flights to other worlds. Glass seems like something familiar to us: windows, bottles, phone screens. But if you think about it, it's a true marvel of nature and human ingenuity. It all starts with ordinary sand, which is heated to temperatures over 1,400 degrees. It melts and transforms into a transparent material. This process has been known since the time of ancient Egypt, and since then it has hardly changed, only become more precise. Consider how amazing it is. What crunches under our feet on the beach can, after being subjected to fire, become a transparent window through which we view the world. Ordinary sand has the power to reshape civilization. The banana plant may seem stationary, but it can actually move. Over its lifetime, it can shift about 40 centimeters. This is due to its root system. New shoots grow slightly away from the old ones, and gradually the entire plant seems to step forward. You can't see this with the naked eye, but if you speed up time, you can observe how the banana family slowly moves toward the sun. This ability helps the plant survive and find better spots for growth. It's amusing to think that even bananas, which we tend to consider simple fruits, actually have their own little secret of travelers. In the Chinese province of Yunnan, there is a place that resembles a set from a fantasy film more than reality. It is the Stone Forest, massive limestone pillars that are over 270 million years old. Wind and rain have sculpted the stone into whimsical shapes, resembling everything from castle towers to animal figures. Locals believe that spirits of nature inhabit this forest, surrounding it with legends. Tourists who find themselves here feel as if they have entered another world, where trees have been replaced by stone spires reaching into the sky. This place astonishes with its scale and mystery, reminding us that even rocks can be living pages of Earth's history. In Madagascar, baobabs grow, captivating not only with their appearance but also with their remarkable ability. Their roots can move in search of moisture. Of course, the tree itself doesn't walk, but its root system gradually extends in the necessary direction, creating the illusion that the baobab is shifting across the ground. This adaptation helps it survive in drought conditions. For the locals, the baobab is a sacred tree, a symbol of strength and longevity. Its fruits and leaves are used for food and medicine, while the trunk can serve as a home or a water reservoir. The baobab stands as a guardian of the island, capable of finding a way even where hope seems lost. Many people consider donkeys to be stubborn and dull animals, but in reality, they are much smarter and more emotional than they seem. Donkeys have excellent memories for friends, both humans and other animals, and can hold on to such memories for up to 20 years. They can sense their owner's mood, enjoy attention, feel jealous, and even become sad if ignored. In fact, donkeys have a rich inner world and value friendship just as much as dogs do. Therefore, it's not surprising that in countries where donkeys live alongside people, they are regarded not just as helpers, but almost as full-fledged family members. Those ears and gentle eyes hide much more than we tend to think. Today, the pyramids of Giza appear gray and austere, but in ancient times, they looked quite different. They were covered with smooth white limestone slabs that reflected sunlight and shone like giant mirrors in the desert. The peaks of some pyramids were adorned with golden caps, pyramidions, that sparkled especially brightly. Imagine how it must have looked. White mountains with golden tops under the blazing sun. Modern tourists see only the stone cores, but once these were the most dazzling structures on Earth, symbols of the wealth and power of the pharaohs. Even now, thousands of years later, they still captivate the imagination. Fawns are born with a unique ability that helps them survive in the wild. They have no scent at all. For predators like wolves or bears, sniffing around becomes pointless. The young one remains invisible. The mother leaves her baby in the grass and walks away, returning only for feeding to avoid attracting attention from enemies. This clever tactic allows tiny fawns to stay unnoticed and have a chance to grow up peacefully. It's a remarkable example of how nature protects the most vulnerable. While we admire their spotted backs, they are masters of camouflage, with their main defense being silence and invisibility. Norway is home to the longest road tunnel in the world, the Lærdal Tunnel, which stretches over 24 kilometers. What's remarkable is that in spring, it transforms not only into a roadway for cars, but also into a path for goats. Local farmers drive their herds through it to reach pastures, and this has become quite a tradition. Imagine walking through a tunnel usually filled with speeding cars, while goats calmly stroll around you. For the animals, it's safer than climbing mountain trails. And for tourists, it's a true spectacle that blends modern engineering with rural life. Norwegians have found an original way to combine technology and nature. At first glance, almonds and peaches seem different. One is a nut, the other a juicy fruit. However, botanists claim they are close relatives and belong to the same rose family. Their pits have a similar structure and the trees look alike when they bloom. The only difference is that peaches have edible flesh, while almonds are valued for their seeds. It's amusing that when we snack on a handful of almonds or enjoy a sweet peach, we are dealing with cousins. Nature is full of such surprises. Beneath the mask of differences lie familial connections that make the plant world even more fascinating and unexpected. When we see an iceberg, it appears to be a massive chunk of ice proudly floating in the ocean. But the most treacherous part is that 90% of its mass is hidden beneath the surface. This means we only see a small tip, while the bulk remains concealed in the depths. This is why icebergs are so dangerous for ships. The underwater portion can be many times larger than what is visible. It's no wonder the Titanic collided with such a massive block, completely unaware of its scale. An iceberg is like an iceberg of problems. What's on the surface is just a small part. The water keeps its secrets deep, and they can be fatal for those who underestimate the danger. Dubai loves to impress with architectural wonders, and one of the ideas is skyscrapers that rotate around their axis. Imagine a building where each floor can slowly turn, offering residents a new view: the sea in the morning, the desert in the evening, and the city lights at night. This technology requires complex solutions, but it transforms the building into a living mechanism. Additionally, the rotation helps evenly distribute sunlight throughout the building and saves energy. This is not just a striking concept, but a step towards smart architecture, where comfort and beauty go hand in hand. Dubai once again proves that the future is already here. In the dense jungles of Honduras, archaeologists used lasers to discover a lost ancient city that had been hidden by nature for centuries. Laser scanning allowed them to see through the tree canopies and uncover the ruins of buildings, plazas, and pyramids. Local legends referred to this place as the White City, or the City of the Gods, attributing mystical powers to it. Researchers found numerous artifacts that confirmed the existence of a rich culture in the area. It turned out that deep within the forest lay an entire civilization forgotten by humanity. This discovery revealed that the jungles could be not just a home for wildlife, but also a vast repository of human history. Beneath the massive feet of elephants lies an intriguing secret. They have unique toes. These special bony structures help distribute their weight and allow the animals to move almost silently. Thanks to them, an elephant walks softly despite its tons of mass. They sense the ground like a cat's pads and provide stability even on unstable surfaces. This is why these giants can calmly tread on sand, clay, or even marshy land. Their gait is remarkably light, and if you close your eyes, you might not even notice a whole elephant sneaking up on you. Nature has once again demonstrated its engineering genius. In the ocean, there are real lakes hidden beneath the water's surface. They are called brines or salt pools. The reason is that in certain areas, the water is so saturated with salt that it becomes denser than regular seawater. As a result, a boundary forms, resembling the surface of a new lake, even though it lies on the ocean floor. These pools look astonishing. Underwater, there is another surface, smooth and shiny. Unique organisms adapted to extreme conditions thrive in them. Scientists study these places as analogues of extraterrestrial worlds, as life there is vastly different from what we know. It turns out that even on our planet, one can find almost alien landscapes. In the old houses of Venice and Florence, secret staircases hidden within the walls are still being discovered. Aristocrats built them as a backup escape route in case of danger or attack. These concealed passages led to secret rooms or allowed for a discreet exit from the house. Today, such discoveries captivate tourists. You enter an old mansion and suddenly find a small door behind which lies a narrow spiral staircase leading who knows where. It feels as if the house itself is guarding its secrets. These architectural tricks serve as a reminder that life in past centuries was not only luxurious but also dangerous, requiring caution and clever solutions. Sloths are known for their slow lifestyle. They can hang on a tree for hours, moving at a leisurely pace. But they have an amazing skill. They can hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. In comparison, a human can typically hold their breath for 1 to 2 minutes. This ability helps sloths hide from predators and even swim across rivers while staying underwater. It seems incredible that such a slow creature possesses a superpower that few people know about. Their slowness, combined with respiratory endurance, makes them true survival masters, proving that their outward laziness is merely a facade hiding smart adaptations. The word laser seems familiar and simple, but in reality it's an acronym. It stands for Light Amplification by Stimulated Emission of Radiation. It sounds complicated, but the essence is straightforward. The technology allows energy to be directed into a powerful beam. Lasers are now used in medicine, science, industry, and even in the entertainment industry. It's amusing that a word we say every day hides a whole technical definition within it. It's as if a long name is concealed behind a short sign, and the term itself has become a symbol of progress, turning into part of everyday speech. Time on Mercury is arranged in an unusual way. This small world completes an orbit around the Sun in just 88 Earth days, but its own rotation takes twice as long, 176 days. This means that one day on Mercury lasts longer than its year. Imagine. Mornings stretch on for months, and sunsets are events celebrated like holidays. For astronomers, this is an intriguing paradox, but for future colonists, it poses a real challenge. Living on a planet where days last half a year means completely restructuring one's rhythm of life. Nature has a way of surprising us by breaking the familiar laws of time. We often perceive the nose as just an ordinary organ of smell, but in reality it is incredibly complex. It was once believed that humans could distinguish around 10,000 scents. Today we know that our nose can detect up to 1 trillion different aromas. It's a whole universe of sensations, from the smell of fresh bread to the subtle notes of smoke or gas that can warn us of danger. Think about it. The nose helps you recall childhood memories through the aroma of grandma's pies, or feel the excitement of spring through the scent of damp earth. We tend to consider sight as the primary sense, but the nose is a true superhero, working quietly and unnoticed, saving us from mistakes every day and filling our lives with memories. The chicken is a bird, but there's nothing eagle-like about its flight. The longest flight ever recorded lasted just 13 seconds. For comparison, that's less time than it takes to count to 15. The reason is simple. A chicken's body is heavy and its wing muscles are not developed enough for long flights. However, these short bursts allow chickens to jump over fences or fly up into trees to escape danger. So a chicken flies just enough to survive. And while its flights may not be impressive, it remains a unique bird in its own right, an ancestor of dinosaurs and a staple of the farmyard. In the Emirates, skyscrapers are built not only for beauty but also for practical purposes. In the heat, height helps cool the buildings. At higher levels, the temperature is lower, and the shade from the towers covers parts of the streets. Thus, architecture becomes a way to combat the climate. Imagine a city where towers are not just decorations, but a refuge from the scorching sun. Moreover, tall buildings save land, freeing up space for parks and roads. As a result, modern skyscrapers are not a whim, but a smart solution that transforms the desert into a comfortable and cool metropolis. In Japan, there are unusual hotels where guests are greeted not by people, but by robots. Imagine being welcomed by an android at the reception, while a mechanical porter delivers your luggage to your room. Even cleaning and service are partially handled by machines. This network is called Henna Hotel, and it has become a true attraction. For tourists, it's an opportunity to glimpse the future, where technology and service merge into one. Of course, sometimes robots make mistakes and humans have to step in, but the experiences are unforgettable. The Japanese have once again proven that if you're looking for futuristic ideas in everyday life, you should look to them. A hotel with robots is a reality where you can spend the night today. The Hercules beetle truly lives up to its name. It can lift a weight that exceeds its own by 850 times. Imagine a person being able to lift a multi-ton truck. That's the ratio this tiny hero demonstrates. It inhabits tropical forests and primarily uses its strength to fight rivals and attract females. Males sport long horns with which they battle for the attention of the ladies. Despite its small size, this beetle is a true champion of strength in the insect world. A symbol that greatness is not determined by size. Nature once again proves that strength can come in the most unexpected forms. Today, the internet is the air of our lives. Work, entertainment, shopping, communication. But few know that the very word emerged back in 1974. At that time, it simply referred to a network connecting computers. No one could have imagined that a few decades later, this word would become a symbol of an entire era. Interestingly, the first internet users were scientists and military personnel, while now billions of people have access to the network. We are so accustomed to Googling and watching videos that we forget how recently all of this seemed like science fiction. The internet has evolved from a term into a true planet within a planet. Today, OK is heard everywhere, from chats to serious negotiations. But few know that this word originated from a joke in a Boston newspaper in 1839. In an article, they intentionally wrote "all correct" incorrectly, resulting in "all correct." People liked the abbreviation, and soon OK became widely used. First in America, then around the world. Now it's a universal sign of agreement, understood in almost every country. It's amusing that a newspaper pun turned into the most recognizable word on the planet. The next time you write OK to a friend, remember, it's not just a response but a little historical joke. Today, speeding is a common offense, but the first case in history is quite amusing. In 1896 in England, a man named Walter Arnold was fined for driving at just 13 kilometers per hour. Back then, that was 4 times the allowed speed. The police caught up with him. On a bicycle. The story became a sensation as cars were just starting to gain popularity. Today, 13 kilometers per hour seems laughable, but this incident marked the beginning of a long history of traffic regulations. It's funny that it all started with such a modest violation. The name John is familiar to everyone, but few consider how ancient it is. Its history spans over 4,000 years. It appears in texts from various cultures and eras, surviving changes in languages, religions, and traditions. Today, it remains one of the most common names in the English-speaking world. One could say that John is a bridge between ancient civilizations and modernity. Imagine, millions of people for thousands of years have responded to this simple yet resonant name. It carries the strength of tradition and symbolizes resilience, having endured through the centuries without losing its relevance. A true veteran among humanity's names. Some bridges are capable of producing sounds when people walk on them. For example, in London there is the Millennium Bridge, which features special plates that create a voice effect. The sounds resemble whispers or soft footsteps, and at night the bridge transforms into an almost mystical place. Tourists love this effect. As they stroll, they become part of a unique concert. There's a feeling that the city itself has a voice, which it reveals only to attentive listeners. These bridges are an example of how architecture can be not only functional, but also emotional, turning an ordinary crossing over a river into a memorable experience. Space may seem empty and silent, but it has its own unique characteristic: a smell. Astronauts report that after a spacewalk, their suits and equipment smell like grilled meat or metallic welding. This aroma arises from chemical reactions at the molecular level that occur in the vacuum and become noticeable when a person returns to the airlock. It's amusing to think that space, so distant and cold, holds hints of something familiar and earthly. Perhaps it's another reminder that we are connected to the stars more closely than it seems. Even the scent of the universe can evoke memories of our planet. A group of owls is called a parliament. This sounds very symbolic, as the owl has been regarded as a wise bird since ancient times. In Greek mythology, it accompanied the goddess Athena, and in the Middle Ages, it became a symbol of knowledge and magic. Perhaps that's why people decided that a gathering of owls resembles a meeting of sages discussing important matters. Imagine a forest at night. Dozens of owls perched on branches, conversing as if they were discussing an agenda. Of course, they have no politics, but the term has taken root in the language. This is a wonderful example of how human imagination gives animals vivid and memorable names. The world of mammals is diverse. Some run, some swim, some jump, but only bats can truly fly. Their wings are membranes stretched over elongated fingers, not feathers like birds. This structure makes them incredibly agile. Additionally, bats use echolocation. They emit sounds that bounce off objects, allowing them to navigate in the dark by the echoes. This enables them to hunt at night with missile-like precision. Bats play a crucial role in the ecosystem, consuming millions of insects and pollinating plants. These small nocturnal hunters are true masters of the air. In the Finnish city of Tampere, charming robots have been created for cleaning parks. They are designed like little hedgehogs, with wheels instead of paws and sensors instead of noses. These devices find and collect trash, leaving clean pathways behind. It looks as if amusing mechanical creatures are scurrying across the lawn. People enjoy watching them, turning cleanup into a show. The hedgehog robots not only maintain order, but also remind everyone that ecology can be friendly and even fun. The Finns have once again demonstrated that technology can not only assist, but also make life more pleasant and warm. Imagine Venice at night, when tourists disperse to their hotels and the city falls silent. You walk across an ancient stone bridge, and suddenly it emits astonishing sounds, like a soft melody. This is due to its unique design. In certain spots, plates are installed that begin to vibrate with each step. The effect of resonance transforms an ordinary bridge into a musical instrument. Tourists unwittingly become musicians themselves. These sounds seem to transport you to the past, to an era when Venice was a hub of trade and art. The city still knows how to amaze. Here, even the stones converse and sing if you listen closely enough. In Egypt, there is a funny yet important rule: no kissing camels. Tourists often want to take close-up photos with these animals, but it's not safe. First, camels can be unpredictable and may easily show aggression. Second, they carry infections that can be transmitted to humans. That's why the authorities decided to officially warn: no romance with camels. It's amusing that such a sign seems almost like a joke. But in reality, it protects the health of both people and the animals themselves. Sometimes rules sound silly, but they carry a simple truth: respect nature and don't intrude where you don't belong. When you look at a chicken, it's hard to believe that you're staring at a distant relative of the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex. But that's what science claims. Bird DNA shares common traits with ancient predators. Scientists even refer to the chicken as a living reminder of dinosaurs. It turns out that millions of years ago, terrifying giants ruled the planet, and today their descendants run around backyards and lay eggs. It's amusing how nature has changed the role of these creatures, from kings to simple inhabitants of rural homesteads. And now, when you see a chicken, you might think, here it is, a small shadow of the great T-Rex, stepping into modernity. When you hear the word bison, it sounds like a joke. But no, bison are a real hybrid of cattle and buffalo. These animals combine the strength and endurance of wild bison with the hardiness of domestic cows. They were specifically bred in the US to create a robust and resilient livestock capable of thriving in harsh conditions. As a result, bison have become true stars of agriculture. They adapt well and produce delicious meat. Imagine encountering a creature in the field that looks both familiar and exotic, as if two worlds have merged into one body. Nature and humans sometimes create unusual alliances, and bison are a striking example of how an experiment can lead to an extraordinary animal. We tend to think of the skin as just a shell that protects the body. But in reality, it resembles a vast city inhabited by billions of tiny neighbors, bacteria, fungi, and other microbes. Their numbers exceed those of all the people on Earth. Sounds alarming? Actually, it's a good thing. These invisible residents help keep the skin healthy, fight infections, and maintain balance. You could say that everyone has a personal army of bodyguards that we don't even notice. They live with us constantly, day and night, maintaining order on the skin's surface. So the next time you think about cleanliness, remember, your skin is a whole kingdom of invisible allies. Typically, twins are born just minutes apart, at most a few hours. However, there was a unique case in history where there was an 87-day gap between the births of two sisters. The first girl was born prematurely, and doctors managed to prolong the pregnancy until the second one was strong enough. As a result, their birthdays fell in different months and even different seasons. Imagine how the parents felt. 2 celebrations instead of 1, and a record that made it into the books. This case demonstrates that medicine and human patience can work wonders, and life sometimes writes scripts that are hard to imagine. It may seem strange that banknotes vary in size across different countries. In fact, this is done intentionally to make life easier for people with visual impairments. In euros or pounds, each banknote differs in length and width, allowing individuals to identify them by touch. This is convenient not only for the visually impaired, but for everyone else as well, reducing the chance of confusing denominations. In the US, however, all banknotes are the same size, making it difficult for tourists to quickly distinguish between them. Additionally, varying sizes serve as a protection against counterfeiting, as it is challenging for fraudsters to replicate precise dimensions. Thus, banknotes hold not only monetary value, but also a hidden consideration for the people who handle them daily. It may seem like ordinary things, but if you take a closer look, they hold the most unexpected stories. If you enjoyed this journey through the world of curiosities, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's even more to come that textbooks have kept silent about.